Good afternoon. My name is Stefan Ryll. I'm a professor here at Southern New Hampshire University, right in beautiful Manchester, New Hampshire. And today I would like to show you a sauteed salmon fillet with Dijon mustard, sage cream sauce. And we're going to put this on a bed of wild rice with fresh spinach. And we're going to top the whole thing with a beautiful zucchini pilaf and some beet salad. So we have some really nice colors. They're going to come very well. We have the sweetness of the beets, the tanginess of the mustard. These ingredients are going to come very well together. First step, I want to show you how to make our zucchini pilaf. So you have your fresh zucchini. We washed them already. Just cut your ends off. And then you take a little mandolin. You can also use a slicer if you have it available. And then just take your zucchini and slice nice all the way down so you get nice long stripes. Make sure they have the right thickness. You want to have them a bit thicker, not too thin, because we're going to blanch them afterwards, but we're going to be able to wrap our zucchinis into it. So we're slicing them. Watch your hands. Always nice safety. Make sure you don't cut your fingers. Safety always comes first. Beautiful, nice, long. You can get all the way through. And this should probably be enough for our dish today. Like I said, in the end, watch out if you get too close. And then this part, when you come towards the seeds, we're just going to scrape out the seeds with a little spoon. And then cut them up in nice little half moons like this already here. Prepare them for us so we can saute them. And now we're going to show you how we're going to prepare the dish, and we're going to move over to the stove. Now we have our zucchini nicely sliced on a mandolin like you see it. We have a boiling water over here. We got to make sure we season a little bit, because you always want to have your water seasoned, because otherwise you add no flavor into the vegetable at all. Blank water, blank vegetable doesn't make a good combination. So now we're going to chop our zucchini slices just in here, one by one. You want to do them separately so they don't stick together. And we're just going to blanch them for a little bit. We don't want to have them become too soft. So we'll lay them in, crib them down. We're maybe going to blanch them for a minute or two. That's all they're going to need. All we're looking for is that they're bendable, and we can put our filling inside of it. But we can take another 30 seconds or so. Okay, and this is the consistency you're looking for. You take your little zucchini stripe out. If you can bend them like this is all we want from it. So they're easy. And now we're going to drop them right over here into our prepared ice water to cool them down immediately. Two things: it will stop the cooking process immediately, and number two, it kind of pressures them so they stay nice and green in color. Make sure you spread them apart a little bit. And the other little tool we need is some fresh chives that I just cut from our garden outside. They're actually perfect right now. You want to look for some really long ones, because to tie them up and a little bit more thicker. If they're too thin, you want to have a hard time in the end tying up the zucchini pilaf that we want to be doing. And these two as well, I'm just going to drop them here very quickly, and these go in and out. So to chive in, make sure they're bendable, and chive out. That's how fast they go. And right away into the ice water, so we'll cool them down. The next thing now we're going to do is we want to prepare our filling. So we have our little saute pan right here. We're going to make sure we heat it up. It's going to get nice and hot. Then we're going to add a little bit of olive oil. Just a tiny bit, not too much. You don't want your vegetables swimming into it, but you want to make sure it's nice and hot. Make sure your pan gets nice and hot. And then we're going to adjust the zucchini that I earlier, I took the seeds out. This is the way so they don't get mushy. Usually when you cook them with the seeds, they tend to be more mushy and fall together. If you take the seeds out, they have more bite to it and they stay closer when you cook them. Then I just cut them up very thinly. Then we're going to add our nice, fresh cut zucchini. And summer squash, both, because you want a bit of color play. You want to have the red, the green, and the yellow. We're just going to saute them a little bit to soften them up. We want to season it with a little bit salt, a little bit pepper, and then in the end, we're just going to add some fresh cut chives. Instead of doing onions, I like to use the fresh chives because we use them for garnish. So we also want to use them in the vegetable as well for seasoning. If you like to prevent them from browning, you can just take a little bit of your blanching water that was seasoned, have the flavor from the vegetable in it, and just add a small bit into it. This way they're kind of steamed and get cooked a little bit faster. Now we don't want to overcook them, just a little bit, so they have the right consistency, because we're going to fold them in a zucchini pillow, and then we're also going to put them back into the oven to warm them up. So we got to make sure that they're on the right consistency. So we cook them very al dente. And then the final step, just before we take them off the stove, we add our nice, freshly chopped chives. And there we have it. Okay. And now I'm going to show them how to put it all together. Now that we sauteed our zucchini and salmon squash, we're going to make sure we taste them. They have a nice al dente flavor, well seasoned, nicely cooked. That's what we're looking for. But with a crunch, because we're still going to put them back in the oven to finish our pillow. Now we're going to take our zucchini sleeves, which I dried on the paper towel before, lay them crosswise just like this. Make sure the chive is underneath like you can see it here. And then we'll take our zucchini and salmon squash filling and just pile up nicely in the middle, as high as we can, as close as we can. You want to squish them in a little bit so you get a good sized portion, but you don't want them to fall out on your side either. Okay. Then we'll take the outside first, wrap it in, then the inside one. Anything sticks out, we remove it, tie it up. Now we're going to take our chives and just tie it up on the top. Okay. And if you're very good, you can even make a little bow. It's a little tricky, but if we get it through, voila. There we have a little bow, little zucchini pillow, nicely flavored. We'll put them in a little baking dish. Add some white wine, a little butter, salt, and pepper. Pop them in the oven for about 5 minutes, just before we're ready for serving. Now that we finished our zucchini pillows, we're going to cook our salmon. And first thing, we're going to saute them in a little bit of vegetable oil. We got a nice hot saute pan. You want to make sure it's nice and hot and steamy, so you get a nice sear on your salmon as you put them in to the pan. Always lay them away from the body. Make sure you have a nice little sizzle sound. So you get a nice little crust on the bottom of it. Make sure it doesn't stick too much on it. This way you get a nice little color, but you're still going to be able to flip the salmon over. Okay. We're just going to make sure it gets a nice little color on the bottom. You want to get the sugar to caramelize and get a nice even brown, golden brown color. We're going to season this side already with a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and then we're going to do the same thing to the other side as well. Seasoning, very important, so we get some great flavor into the salmon. You can almost see on the side how your salmon is starting to cook a little bit, the way it's coming up here. And you can cook it to each temperature you like. I would recommend when you put them in the oven 10 to 15 minutes on 350, depending how much you like it. I personally like my salmon a bit more on the medium rare side, or pink in the middle, but most people like it more well done. So it's totally up to your preference how you would like to cook them. Now we're going to take our salmon, flip them over. Have a nice little caramelization on it. Got to make sure it gets cooked on the other side as well. And you can see evenly how it's already cooked on the outside. Flip it over one more time. You have a beautiful, nice color. That's what we're looking for. Golden brown, nicely seared on the salmon. That's exactly how we want it. Now we're going to finish in the oven. Make sure we put it in a different baking shed and we hit it in the raw one. You don't want to mix this up. Okay. We're just going to take it out carefully. Put it in there. We add a little bit of white wine. Just a little bit. Also a bit more seasoning. Then we put it in the oven and let it bake for about 10 to 15 minutes. We're going to finish our sauce. Now we're going to deglaze our pan with a little bit of white wine. You want to be careful. Sometimes it gets really hot, so you want to move your pan to the side. Add your white wine into it. And deglazing pretty much means we like to get all these nice goodies that stick on the bottom of the pan and get them up into our sauce. We're going to add a little bit of our Dijon mustard. We're going to let this reduce for a few minutes till it comes almost to a syrup consistency. And then we're going to add our heavy cream. We're going to bring this to a boil. I'm going to reduce for about 2 or 3 minutes. When our sauce is nicely reduced, we got to make sure we taste it. Have the right flavor in it. Very good. And in the end, we're just going to add a splash, some fresh chopped chives for color. And this will complete the sauce. In the end, before we're going to serve, we're going to put our salmon back into it and drizzle it over it. Good. Now that we completed our salmon, it's in the oven cooking nicely. It should be almost done, about 3 or 4 minutes. We got our sauce reduced and finished. Our zucchini pillow is always in the oven. We're going to finish our rice. And we're going to add a little bit of olive oil to our saute pan. And I pre-cooked already a bit of white rice. I'm going to add this into here. And I'm also going to add a little bit of wild rice, which is a bit more nutritional, and also gives them some great color. When we cook the rice, we just cook a bit of salt water. We undercooked it slightly, so now we warm it up. It's still going to have a nice little crunchy consistency. We're going to add a little bit of baby spinach. Its nutritional value but also great for color. And some nice, fine, chopped, fresh tomatoes. Small touch of white wine. Then we'll just stir it quickly up. Nice colors. You got the white, the brown from the rice, which has nutritional value, the spinach, the tomatoes. We're just gonna add a little bit of seasoning. So you always gotta make sure your food is nicely seasoned. And voila, there you have a nice little wild rice with baby spinach, fresh tomatoes. Make sure we taste it. Perfecto. And now we're going to finish our dish with the plated presentation. All right, now that our rice is completed, we got our salmon all the way cooked, the sauce is done, and our zucchini pillows in the oven. We're going to do our final presentation for our dish. Here comes our beautiful salmon. And our nicely steamed zucchini pillow. We season up a little bit and add a little bit touch of white wine just to get the nice flavor into it. First thing on the plate, we're gonna make sure we put our wild rice with the spinach and the fresh diced tomatoes. Want to keep it nice in the center. In a square, just kind of like the shape of the salmon. Make an even pad for them, so the salmon will rest evenly on it and you can build the rest up. Always make sure when you plate food that's ready to eat that you wear your gloves. Golden rule for every single chef. We're gonna get our salmon. Nicely cooked. Make sure our base stays still. Okay. Now we add our zucchini pillow. And then a little bit earlier, I roasted some roasted beets for about 45 minutes in the oven. Then I peeled them, cooled them down, put them to a little vegetable slicer. So I have a kind of like a small little beet salad. Okay? I'm gonna add like a raspberry balsamic vinaigrette to it, so it gives a nice little sweet taste to the earthiness from the beets, which will really nicely offset with the sweetness of the salmon and the rice. We'll toss the vinaigrette in it. Take a little bit of the beet salad. Make sure we tie it up nicely. Then we add it on top of our pillow. Just like that. And then last thing to our dish, or second last thing, we add our garnish, which in this case give you a sage in the sauce. Gonna use the sage flower. A little bit of sage leaf. And then the final thing, our Dijon mustard and sage sauce, which we're just gonna make a little drizzle right in the front and paint it out with a few drops right there. Beautiful flavor, nicely combined. I wish you could smell that. Too bad we don't have smell-o-vision, but it's great flavors. They're all coming right to your nose, and I hope you enjoy. And if you would like to know more about the culinary program here at Salmon University, please contact us at snhu.edu/culinary. Enjoy.